Hello, everyone. This is Naka C. Onolafor. Welcome to my channel. And I am super excited. We have an amazing guest today. His name is Jay. Is it Stovall?
Snowball, yeah.
Stovall, not butchering that. But I discovered Jay about maybe, I don't know, might have been maybe not quite a year ago, maybe like 8 months ago. And I think actually the way I discovered Jay was Jay reviewed one of my videos. And then I started to watch his videos and I started to learn a lot about his videos because he talks a lot about Black women. And Jay has had some hit videos that I have saved that I will reference. But for right now, I just want Jay to introduce himself. So,
Hey, well, I am, Jay Stovall, as Naka said. I'm excited to be on her channel. She's absolutely brilliant. And I've told her all of that, in the off, when we were talking back and forth before the video started. But yeah, I mean, my main goal is just to help people to get married. I learned a lot through my divorce process. And through that, I just kind of recognized that a lot of people, especially the church, unfortunately, is not really teaching people how to stay together. They assume that we know this information and therefore nobody's really talking about it. So that was the core element to everything that I, have tried to build, with God's help, and the fact that of just trying to get people together, trying to get them married, and really trying to understand both sides. Men understanding women, women understanding men, us understanding what God wants, and us understanding what's really kind of going out here in this world in order to kind of fix, some of those problems. So that's what I'm about and what I try to hope for.
awesome. And I will say that, Jay, honestly, one of the things that attracted me to your platform was the Christian element, and the fact that the way when you would talk about Black women and bring forth different stories, you did it in a way where it wasn't demeaning. I don't want this video to be controversial, but yeah, I don't consider myself.
Controversy sales.
What did you say?
The controversy sales. You might get more likes.
That's true. But I don't necessarily make red pill content or manosphere content or anything like that. I really bring stories that I find interesting, and I saw the same in your content. It was just like actually had a positive flair to it, and you don't curse, and all of that. And I'm very attracted to platforms like that because I don't curse. And so anyway, I just wanted to say that I do really love your style. And like I said, you don't beat up on Black women at all. And very much I try also not to beat up on Black women, although Black women think I beat up on them, but that's another conversation. So I've been wanting to ask you because I know you have a story of you've been married before, and you always say your goal is to get married, and you're helping a lot of other people in the community to understand relationships and marriage. I had this conversation years ago with a friend, and the conversation it was she was a black woman, and I remember at that time I told her this was my daughter was like my daughter was I don't know my daughter's 13 at the time. My daughter was probably like 8 months old, and I was sharing with her how I really wanted to be married, and didn't work out with my daughter's father, and I was like I really want to be married because marriage is an accomplishment. And I remember she looked at me and was like, "What? Why would that be an accomplishment?" And I was like, "Well, it is." And I started naming all the reasons why it is. And I felt like a failure, or like I failed in that moment because I wasn't, didn't want to be a single mom. And we were supposed to become married. It didn't work out. And I just was like, I got to get married. Like, I don't like this. I don't like being a single mom. But she was very much like, that is not an accomplishment. Like, she just didn't look at it as anything to brag on or anything to, it's like you don't get a trophy. So I'm curious, what do you think? Like, do you see marriage? Because I know, again, you talk a lot about, wanting to be married, wanting to get other people married. Is marriage an accomplishment for you? Is that how you see it? Do you put it in the realm of like, wow, like I'm checking this box. This is great. This is what I always wanted. Or is it just like equivalent to, I don't know, something very basic that no one should really be necessarily proud of because it's just super basic. And if you do it, you do it. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. How do you see that?
I can see it as an accomplishment, like you said, but I think it's an accomplishment only to a bigger beginning. So, for instance, it's kind of like going through high school. Not everybody actually graduates from high school. It's open to everybody, but not everybody's able to do it. Some people, whether their circumstances at home, whether they themselves just decide to check out, it's a lot of different reasons why people don't graduate high school. But we have to recognize while everybody has the opportunity, not everybody will walk across that graduation stage. But once you do graduate high school, something happens. It's an epiphany that says, oh crap, there's more work on the outside. I thought all the work was in high school. I thought you were giving me busy work. I thought you was doing this. I thought you was doing that. But high school is really to prepare you. Same thing, your parents are supposed to prepare you for life. And life is the bigger challenge than high school. And it's the same thing with marriage. A lot of people go into marriage, and I do think more women, tend to do this than men, but they're so excited about the wedding day. But the wedding day in itself is a very small thing. And I think they even had a stat that said that more people who spent less on their wedding actually tended to be married longer, but people who spent a lot of money on their wedding generally would get divorced very quickly. And I think it lines up with the concept that a lot of people, I do think men are in this too, but I do think it leans more towards women. They're just excited about the wedding day. They see their wedding day in their head, but they don't see their marriage in their head. They don't see, like, one of the things I ask every woman that I date is, I'm like, okay, if we got married, what do you see, like 5 years into our marriage, how would you see a normal day? What would be a normal day, like a Wednesday? So we wake up on Wednesday. So what happens? And the women who have a hard time visualizing that is always a yellow flag for me. Because the woman needs to be focused on the marriage, not the wedding day. Yeah. And so to me, yes, I do think getting married is important. I think it is an accomplishment. But we have to focus on what's the bigger picture, what's the bigger thing. The work is on the other side of the wedding day, is not the technical side of just getting married.
Yes, you said a whole word, and I completely agree with that. So then let me ask you this then, because I did a video recently about Vivica Fox and about her not currently being married and never having any children. So if marriage is an accomplishment, and not the wedding, but the actual marriage, if that's the accomplishment, would you say that people who decide to never get married, maybe never have kids, does that make them less accomplished in some way?
Well, I think we have to look at it, from multiple perspectives. If we're looking at it from a godly perspective, are we looking at it from a worldly perspective? Are we looking at it from a social perspective? I mean, Vivica Fox is in a group all her own. She's a multimillionaire. She's living a life that most of us will never even truly understand. She deals with a different type of loneliness that we will never understand. I mean, let's be real. Many of us can join a group. Like I know with our group, that we have Christian Singles Connect, we go out. It's easier for us to join a group. It would be hard for Vivica Fox just to join a Bible study, because as soon as she pops up, everybody's just going to know who she is. And so therefore it's going to bring in a different energy. So I think when you're dealing with somebody like that, it is a difference. So I think from the beginning of it, if I'm just looking at the average everyday Black woman and saying that, hey, is she less accomplished because she's not married? Again, it just depends upon her. It depends upon how she sees her life and what she wants. I don't think anybody can really tell someone else what they should or should not do. Okay, so if somebody doesn't want to get married, then that's fine. But I think what we can learn from Vivica Fox is the fact that she has gone back and forth over, at least from my understanding, you can explain if I'm wrong, but she's kind of gone back and forth over whether or not she wanted to be married versus if she did want to be married. And so that's why I'm always encouraging women, like, Get married. Don't wait. Don't push it off. Don't try to get your money. Your money does not make you more attractive to men. It's not that men are afraid of your success. It's just that that's not what we're looking for. That's what women are looking for.
Yeah.
And I think because women are looking for it, they assume that men are looking for it as well. But there are things that men want and there are things that women want. And so what women want, like I say, is that man that's successful. What a man wants is a woman who is sweet and kind and loving. And that has nothing to do with success. So I think with situations like Vivica, it's hard, not just being real about it, it's hard for what I call uber successful women. So these multimillionaire women, if they don't find their husband really, really early, it is very difficult for them. And it'll always be difficult for them. But if it's just your normal, average, everyday Black woman, there's still this concept that if she wants that, it's possible for her. And I'm not saying she's less than if she doesn't get it, but I want to make sure that, women understand that things get more difficult for women as they get older. And I think that's what a lot of people are talking about these days. And I know a lot of women don't like that. But the truth is, for men, it's exact reverse. We start off in high school and college, and nobody wants us. And we spend a lot of days lonely. And then we wake up one day and we're 35, and we're like, why everybody want to talk to me all of a sudden?
Yeah.
So,
Believe me, I can see, I'm from the sidelines. I see it. So what you're saying is absolutely true with men, like you said. The I see the value, how it can potentially increase, as men age. And I talk a lot about the invisible woman. That's a whole nother thing. But yes, as women age, unfortunately, and again, it's not saying we don't have value, but do men value us the same? They do not. Does the world value us the same? No. And so, yeah, I'm glad you said that.